When you stare at her non-stop, what truly stops you from approaching? If you are being honest, there is more than one woman who could easily find you attractive if only she had a chance to know you. And in this video, we are going to see the best way to make a hypnotic first impression on any woman you walk up to, and you will discover why it might be much simpler than you thought. So this video was partly inspired by a comment I received not long ago talking about working girls. Any girl who works at a bar, who works as a waitress, how do you approach her? And the good news is that it is not really any different from any person you would like to approach during the day, and you are going to see why it is quite simpler than you thought. Because no matter that she works at a bar, that she's a waitress, whatever, the main thing is to get outside of your head and notice the surroundings, what is happening with her even before you approach. If we pause for a second and talk about what hypnotic communication truly is, it is nothing more than reducing the range of consciousness, narrowing down the range of consciousness to one single element or a few elements within yourself, inside yourself. It is basically the purpose of a hypnotic induction. Now, if we want to talk about this here in the context of approaching somebody, we want to do, at first at least, the exact reverse. We want to open consciousness, which is called also hyperesthesia, when your senses are so drawn on the exterior that you notice more of what is going on with her and around her at the moment you are going to approach. This means that whoever she is, no matter where she is or where she works at, you can always find at least one thing interesting to say about her or about what is happening around if you get outside of your head and notice more, first of all, in which emotional state does she seems to be, in what kind of state is she at the moment you approach, is there anything on her mind, or is there anything that seems to be on her mind, what kind of overall behavior does she have, does she look like closed and almost like trying to protect something? Does she look like pretty enjoying and ongoing during the day? What is her overall state? Because, for example, if it is a girl working at a bar, it might be quite simple. Maybe she just had an annoying customer coming and being really abusive with her or like talking loud, and you might empathize. You might show some respect, saying, "Oh, this dude, he has been annoying like 10 girls before you. Really sorry to see that." That alone might be enough, because you have been adapting to the ongoing situation. Something happened, you commented on what happened. And even if nobody else talked to her before that, what is she doing? What is she looking at? How is she behaving? Does she look stressed out? If she looks stressed out, what I have done many times is, it's okay, it's going to be fine. For example, one time I went at a pre-selection night for the TV show The Voice for singers, and I saw one woman who was extremely nervous, and I just walked by and I said, "It's going to be fine, it's going to be okay." And she laughed, and then we had a conversation, just noticing in what overall state she is. And in order to do this, you have to get outside of your own head, expand the consciousness on the reverse with a hypnotic induction where we narrow down on the inside what's happening within myself. No, here I expand. I notice what is happening around me. I can comment on anything that is happening because I notice where she's looking at and how does she look like, what does she look like from the outside. Then if you really want to bypass many of the objections she might have for not talking to you because you are a stranger, why would she have to talk to you? Then you just talk with the voice tonality of a friend or of anyone who already knows her. Just notice in your head, even if you might not be completely in tune yet with your inner dialogue, but whenever you can hear something inside your head, notice what kind of voice tonality do you hear yourself having as you imagine yourself approaching somebody you find attractive. Or even the last time you did, if you ever did so, what kind of voice tonality did you have at the moment you approached? Because if it didn't go well, my first guess is that you did not really speak with the tonality of somebody who already knows her. You maybe spoke with the tonality of somebody who knew he was being annoying. But why would you presuppose you are being annoying? Maybe she would be delighted of meeting you. And even if it is not the case, at least you approaching with the intention, with the presupposition that you are going to be somebody she likes, at least you skyrocket your possibilities of getting her to like you at first sight. And the truth is, we always respond more to body language, behaviors, and vocal tonalities, way more than the specific words being used. If I say the same words, speaking like a machine, like a cold, dead machine, like this because it is getting monotonous and you have to learn from this video, none of that is going to work. But if I speak with a more eloquent vocal tonality and if I caress your mind as I guide your thoughts within a new reality, then you are getting more absorbed, at least slightly more, into what I say. So alter your voice tonality to speak exactly as if you already knew her. And with the examples I shared so far, for example, if she looks stressed out just before an audition, you might say, "It's okay, it's going to be fine." The way you would say that to a friend. If you speak with the same tonality than you would have, the one you would have with a friend, you bypass many of the conscious resistance she might have with a stranger, because you presuppose, hypnotically, bypassing consciousness, you presuppose you are already somebody she knows. And then to still give you a few, at least, language patterns, because I know people clicking on a video like this only want the specific words to say, even if I have explained thoroughly up to now that it is not only about the words, but to give you a few easy ones, I used quite many times, "Oh, this reminds me of." If she's wearing anything particular, anything special, "Oh, this reminds me of the one of my best friend. Where did you get this?" Any shirt she has, any necklace she has, that might even trigger some jealousy, because women don't like to know that another woman wears the same thing she's wearing, but that might start a conversation, at least if you know a bit about what she's wearing. Otherwise, maybe avoid this. But I might just introduce with, "Oh, this reminds me of something I saw the other day. Were you at this concert? Oh, I swear I saw somebody who looked like you." That might be an obvious, quite easy line, but also you can make the first contact with this and then chain to something else. Or one thing I used also back in the day, talking about waitresses, bartenders, any woman who might be annoyed by another customer in that context, answering the comment I received. One thing I said one time was a guy was entering the restaurant or like the bar, and he looked super drunk, like really super drunk. And I saw a waitress just standing there, and I could see by her body language she was hesitating to walk to that guy and offer him the menu. She was kind of hesitant, and I passed by and I whispered in her ear. I said, "Oh, don't talk to him, don't talk to him." And she had a sigh of relief, like, I know, and then she mumbled, but it was showing appreciation for what kind of state she was feeling at that moment. She might be afraid of that guy, overly drunk. I am commenting on the state, based on the state she's in at the moment I approach. Or one last one, when I was in the library one time, in a bookstore, and I saw a woman hesitating between two books she wanted to buy, and I said, "This is definitely not a good idea," pointing to one of the books she had into her hands. I hadn't even read that book, but then she laughed, and then it was the first introduction to start a conversation about anything else. Because I might say, "Oh, did you read that one already?" Or "Did you read this one?" I can point to anything else because I stay aware of what is happening around what is around me. And if you really want to go further on how to develop those hypnotic abilities and how to make the conversation more stimulating once you are on a date with her, or at least once the conversation is getting more flirtatious, more intimate, you also have down below 5 language patterns that you can download right away that will show you some of the best lines I have found down the road after 10 years or over 10 years, the best lines, the best hypnotic language patterns that worked beautifully for me, explaining why those ones work, and the point is not necessarily to copy exactly what I said, but to develop your own style of communication based on what already works. With that in mind, you cannot fail anymore, and your only mission for the next few days is to approach more of the ones you like, don't you think?